Hello everyone, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Hejon here, back with another video for you guys. Um, in today's video, I'm going to be doing a book review, and the book I'm going to be discussing today is I don't know if you guys could see that, but yes, Clockwork Princess, Book 3 in the Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare. So, I this video may I'm going to try to remember as much as I can in this review for this book, because this video, it is going to be filled with some spoilers. So I would say, if you have not read this book by the time this video goes up, and if you if you want to watch the video, but I recommend that you read the book first, and then we could come back and then we can discuss everything that happened in Clockwork Princess. So without further ado, but if you want, you could watch at your own risk. If you just want to be spoiled at your own risk, you could go right ahead. But without further ado, let's just get right into it. So, yes, Clockwork Princess. It was really, really, really good. Obviously, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. A lot of things happened. Now, I'm sorry if I can remember if I gave y'all a synopsis of Clockwork Prince. So, but if I didn't do it, I'm sorry about that. But in this video for Clockwork Princess, I will happily read the synopsis for you right now. Okay, so a net of shadows begins to tighten around the Shadowhunters of the London Institute. Mortmain plans to use his infernal devices, an army of pitiless automatons, to destroy the Shadowhunters. He needs only one last item to complete his plan: Tessa Gray. Charlotte Branwell, head of the London Institute, is desperate to find Mortmain before he strikes. But when Mortmain abducts Tessa, the boys who lay equal claim to her heart, Jem and will do anything to save her. For though Tessa and Jem are now engaged, Will is as much in love with her as ever. As those who love Tessa rally to rescue her from Mortmain's clutches, Tessa realizes that the only person she can save is herself. The only person who can save her, is herself. But can a single girl, even one who can summon the power of angels, face down an entire army? So yes, that's the synopsis, and I really enjoyed it. Once again, okay. So the first thing I want to talk about is the opening scene where we see Jem and Will at the institute training, like when they were 12 years old. Both of them training, and they were training to like become Parvati and whatever. And then they were like training, and it was really great seeing them at such a young age, to see how they grew up. Jem was from a different institute as Will was. Will was from the pure London Institute, but Jem came from the Shanghai Institute. And when Charlotte introduced Jem to Will, Jem was kind of shy. He was kind of like hesitant to go and introduce himself, but eventually Charlotte got through to him when he was a little boy, and eventually when Jem introduced himself, right then and there, Jem and Will hit it off, and they began training and became Parvati later on in the book and whatever. And also I think in Clockwork Princess too, and also in many other different books in the Shadowhunter Chronicles, we are continuously exposed and continually reminded as to what it really means to be Parvati. Parvati, well, to me, Parvati, and I think they mentioned that in the book, it's a bond that two people have that are stronger than the bond of like blood brothers. It's stronger, even stronger than that bond. It's a sacred bond between two people, and We see Jem and Will become privatized somewhere along the lines of this book, and then we also see Aloysius Starkweather, who is like Tessa's grandfather. We also see her mother, I believe, Tessa's mother, when she was younger. There's also a scene in this book where when Tessa's mother was younger, she she was like frightened and um well, I think her grandmother, I couldn't really remember, but she was like frightened, and she was, when she had to receive her first marks from the Silent Brothers, she was really frightened. But then um her parents and Aloysius Starkweather end up like getting through to her, and she was able to receive the marks, even though she had the sight. But I think she was a mundane, but she had the sight and whatever. And then I think that's the end of that. And then we also get the scene where Jem and Tessa are preparing for their wedding, and in Tessa's mind, Tessa knew that you know she was only doing Jem the favor of getting married to him, because she knew that he was like severely sick. Everybody knew that he was severely sick, but Tessa, ever since they had that bond, Tessa agreed to marry him only because, at least that is what I got from that scene. I mean, she only agreed to marry him because she knew he was very sick, and she knew she wanted to spend a good amount of time with him, how much ever time he had left, because in his lifespan, because he was like really, really, really sick, and he was taking too much of the infant and whatever. So that's all I got from that scene. She was only doing it out of the sheer kindness of her heart, because she wanted to spend more time with him. But I felt like her feelings, Tessa's feelings between the two boys, Jem and Will, Tessa's feelings lied more with Will, because she knew Will longer. Even though Jem, she met and she had an encounter with Jem in the first book in this trilogy, Clockwork Angel. I feel like for the time being, she was gravitating more toward Will at that point, and then up until the time in Clockwork Angel when she met Jem, she started to fall for him also, and started to have feelings and romantic tension between the two guys, and she started to figure out started to be like torn between two worlds, like, who do I choose? Is it Jem or is it Will, or whatever. And I really like, especially Clockwork in Clockwork Prince, I really wanted her to be with Jem, but obviously we know that didn't happen, for those of you who read the book. But I'll get to that in a later section of this video, hopefully, if I remember. I'm sorry if this review is like all over the place. I'm just trying to like if you guys remember me saying I don't usually take notes for my book reviews. I usually have a good like amount of memory of what happened in certain books. So I'm sorry if this review is all over the place. I'm just trying to remember like most things that happened, and most things that I liked that really stuck with me and really stood out to me. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, so Jem and Tessa were preparing for the wedding, and what else do we see? We see like so many things happen. We see Consul Wheeland. He is still trying to get Charlotte out of the institute, and he wants to get Gideon and Gabriel Lightwood on his side. He comes up with all kind of like conniving ways and bribing. He's like bribing them to spy on Charlotte. I think he wanted Gabriel to spy on Charlotte, and make him believe that Charlotte is not really fit to run the institute and whatever. And I find that really frustrating, because Consul Whelan, I never liked Consul Whelan at all. He was really like, he was really annoying. He just was so aggravating to me. I didn't like his character at all. And then there was a point in time where Gideon, who is Gabriel's brother, he couldn't take it no more, and he decided that he would come up with a plan to like, and he was telling Gabriel about it, that he would come up with a plan to make the council think that they were going to spy on Charlotte, but in actuality they were really trying to help her keep the institute. And when I heard Gideon come up with that plan, when he came up with that plan, I was like, that's really really smart. I really thought he was going to side with Gabriel, but that was really really smart. And then somewhere along the line, I believed it's like chapter 5 or 6, no, or chapter 2 actually. We got this next scene in the book where we see Cecily Herondale, who is also Will's sister. She comes to the institute to take refuge, and she wants to train to become a shadow hunter and whatever. And there's this big scene where Gideon and Gabriel's father, Benedict Lightwood, he because he ended up like giving up and working for Maudmain, I believe. He Benedict Lightwood didn't give Maudmain enough ingredients for like some more yin fen or whatever, and there was this one scene where we find out that Benedict Lightwood, Maudmain put some kind of like drug or curse or spell on him, and Benedict Lightwood was able to turn into a demonic worm. And that worm, that whole fight scene was so beautifully and well written in such a real simplistic way, and it was really really good. And then that whole fight scene was so action packed. I really really enjoyed it. And then we see in that whole fight scene, we see Cecily comes, like she's climbing up on one of the pillars in this big hallway, fighting the worm. Jem, Will, Cecily, Gabriel and Gideon, and all of them, they are fighting this worm who is also, Benedict Lightwood. They are fighting the worm in this big hallway, and Cecily decides to climb up one of the pillars of this big hallway, and she decides to like catch the worm by surprise. She decides to catch it by surprise, and she jumps on the worm's back, and like she's trying to take command of the worm, and like she was trying to like ride the worm for a while, and then she ended up stabbing it with a dagger in the chest. And then we see Gideon let an arrow, he arched back an arrow and let it fly and hit the worm in its eye. And then Jem with his sword cane, he stabbed the woman in the rib cage. That's so cool. That's so good. Oh my gosh. That whole fight scene, and the way how Cecily jumped down into that worm, and I heard a lot of people say this now. So in that scene, Cecily moved exactly like Isabel. Yes, and I agree with that. She moved exactly like Isabel. And then we also get to see the scene where, once again, I'm sorry, this review is all over the place, but the next thing I remember is where Tessa is captured by Maudmain. It's captured for Maudmain, but she is captured by Mrs. Black, who is one of the Dark sisters. And Mrs. Dark, who is the next sister, Mrs. Dark ended up dying, but somehow Mrs. Black she was the only one that's out of the sisters that survived. So Tessa is captured by Mrs. Black, and then she's brought to Maudmain, and Maudmain says how he wants to marry her and how he created her and whatever. And then there was this scene in the carriage where the
scan has completed.
Tessa,
warning. Reg Clean Pro detected problems that need your attention. Click Fix Issues to resolve these problems.
Oh my gosh, guys, I'm sorry about that. I'm really, really sorry about that noise. Sorry if I kind of jumped in the video, but that's just like a scan on the computer. I'm sorry about that. So, anyway, guys, try to ignore that. I'm sorry. But back to the video. There was this scene where Tessa is captured by Mrs. Dark or Mrs. Black, I believe. Most more so Mrs. Dark. She's captured by Mrs. Dark, and Tessa was asking Mrs. Dark, "How are you still alive? How did you survive?" And all that stuff. And Mrs. Dark was telling her, "You know, it's magic. Mortmain brought me back to life, and whatever, he recreated me in his image." And then but at some point Tessa couldn't see her face, and then when Mrs. Dark, like, she came up close to her, Tessa screamed because she saw only bones and like little mild pieces of skin being peeled off of Mrs. Black's face. And that description, it was so creepy. It was really, really creepy. And yeah, what else? We also see Henry, who is Charlotte's husband. He is trying to come up with another like device to try and like counteract the effects of the automatons that Mortmain sent after the London Institute. And we also see Henry being involved in some fight with everybody else outside of the institute, and he is injured, and we found out that he has to end up in a wheelchair like for the rest of his life. And that scene was really heartbreaking. I mean, like, Henry was so funny during this whole series, during this whole trilogy. He was so funny, even in Clockwork Angel and Clockwork Prince, and now Clockwork Princess. His lines in Clockwork Princess was really, really funny. But the fact that he had to end up in a wheelchair for the rest of his life due to some automaton attack was really sad and really, thing. And there was a scene where he was also fighting some other demon or some other creature, and that's Henry. And Charlotte was doing something, I can't remember what she was doing, but there was this scene where Tessa was in Benedict Lightwood's house with him, and she was there with Henry. And when Henry finished fighting the monster or the demon or whatever, he accidentally fell on his dagger, and Henry was like, Tessa was like, "Henry, you're bleeding." He said, "Yeah, I know. She said, "Do you need help with that?" He said, No, I just accidentally fell on my dagger." And then he whispered, "Don't tell Charlotte." And I was like, I really, really enjoyed that scene. The way how he fell on his dagger, and he was like, it was such a cool thing for him, like, but he just reassured Tessa to not tell Charlotte and whatever. I find that was really funny. Henry was really, really funny. What else do we see? I think, and then we also get the scene where after Tessa got captured by one of the Dark Sisters, Will makes it his mission to go and save her. And then we also get the scene where Jem took too much of the drug and he was dying, and he and Will had a big quarrel and fight about it and whatever. And then Will on Jem's bed, while Jem was laying down there dying, Will told him that Will said that he was the only one, he was the true one that really loved Tessa the most and whatever. But he said if the fact that Jem was being engaged to Tessa, Will said, if it makes you happy, I am happy for you. And I was like, that scene where Jem took too much of the infant and how he was lying down there coughing up blood and just being so dull and grey. His, like, we could actually see him withering away, and it was really, really heartbreaking. And then we find out that Jem, like, he was unconscious for a while, and then he gripped Will's hand for like a moment, and he's saying, I think he told him, "Please stay, or please rescue Tessa for my sake," and whatever. And he said, "Wherever I go, I will meet you in the next life." And it was a whole kind of heartbreaking scene between Jem and Will when we realized Jem was dying because he took too much of the infant and he didn't want to listen, and he was so defiant and whatever. And then Jem said, when Will admitted his feelings for Tessa, Jem Jem told Will that um at least when I'm gone or something like that. At least when I'm gone, Tessa will have somebody to keep her company, and um seeing that you truly love her, you could go ahead and have her because I will be watching over you guys in spirit or something so along the lines he said. I'm not sure if it exactly that is what he said, but yeah, I think it's somewhere along that lines. And then we realized that Tessa has she when she was captured by Mortmain, she's able to like use her Clockwork Angel, and then call upon the divine power of the angels, as the synopsis said. And there was this all around her. There was these automatons, and she's able to call upon the angel from above, like her Clockwork Angel helped her to, and she's able to like manipulate the clockwork parts, and she is able to like use the necklace to have some kind of divine power or divine flame from the necklace. And I was like, wait, Tessa is so strong. She is a very unique warlock. Well, obviously we knew Tessa was a warlock since the first book being Clockwork Angel, but the way how she called upon the divine power of the angel, and she's able to command that power to go directly towards the automatons, and the way how the automatons started to crumble and wither away and die just because of Tessa being able to have that immense power from the angel. It was so cool. I was like, Tessa was so strong in that scene. I was like, this is so good. And then eventually I think she ended up going after Mortmain, and she got her strength back and whatever. Knowing that she had the power, the divine power, as they call it, the divine power of the angel on her. She went after Mortmain, and then Mortmain died, and eventually, which was fitting because Mortmain, he is the villain, obviously. And yeah, that is what Cassandra Clare does. Which is a given. Cassandra Clare usually, she rightfully and usually kills off villains, which is what heroes supposed to do in books. Especially fantasy series, they're supposed to kill or destroy villains, which is what she rightfully does. And this whole book, I have absolutely nothing bad to say about this book. If I could, I would give it 1,000,000 stars. But right now, if I give this book a 5 out of 5 stars, I really enjoyed it. And then the epilogue, after that whole scene with Mortmain, um, the epilogue, we realized that when everybody thought Jem died, we realized that Jem is a silent brother. And when I read that scene, I was like, what? How could he be a silent brother? I was so blown away. So they found a cure for the disease that Jem was suffering from. I don't think they mentioned the name of the disease in any of the books, but all we knew is that he was suffering from a disease, and he needed Yin-Fen, which is a demon drug, to fight or counteract the effects of the disease. But when he took too much of the Yin-Fen, he was dying, and then Will and everybody else who was searching for the cure, with the help of Magnus, he will end up finding the cure for him. And then we realized that Jem turned into a silent brother, and I was like, oh my goodness, Jem. At least I was so happy because we to me, we see that Jem is still alive and whatever. And then in the end, like when it came down to Tessa choosing between Jem or Will, Tessa chose Will, because she I think she was told that Jem was like going to die soon or whatever. I think, and she was like, I think she was informed like after a little while that Jem had died, and she was so heartbroken. So, but seeing that her feelings have stayed more stronger for Will, in the end of this whole trilogy, she chose to be with Will. She chose to marry Will and to spend the rest of her life with him. and Will is her husband now. So, and then in the epilogue, we find out that Will and Tessa have a son named James Herondale, and Will decided to name their son James after Jem, which is Jem's real name, James. And I was like, oh, that's so cute, and that's really really cute. I was like, you know, that's really really good that they're honoring Jem's memory, even though Jem is still there, and the fact that he's a silent brother, they're still honoring his memory as still like when he was a Shadowhunter first, and I found it to be really nice. You know, this whole trilogy um, wrapped up in a really heartbreaking, satisfying, and unexpected way. So many twists and turns. I really didn't expect it to go the way it did, but I really really enjoyed this book. And yeah, I think that's about it for Clockwork Princess. So many other things that happened. I'm probably sure I forgot like half of the book, but I'm sorry for that. Half or majority of the book, but I was just in this review I wanted to try to like see how much I remembered, but obviously I'm sure people out there probably remembered more than me, but in my review I am happy with the way this turned out, and yeah, I think that's all I have for you guys today. So let me know what you guys thought about this in the comments. Did you like it? Was it alright? You know, just leave me a comment. Feel free to send me an email or a message. And any recommendations for like books or TV shows you want me to do for this channel and whatever. And thank you for the ongoing support. For those of you who casually watch me from time to time, and for those of you who are subscribed, thank you for the ongoing support. So I really appreciate it. And yeah. So that is all I have for you guys today in this book review of my book review of Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. Let me know what you guys thought, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.